Thank you so much. Tonight, we speak about the role of sleep scheduling in mental wellness, and we are privileged to have Dr. Samuel Jando Panti. So he is a dedicated clinical health psychologist with a strong commitment to promoting mental health among children, young adults, and female and families across Africa and beyond. With extensive experience as both a therapist and mental health advocate, he is passionate about driving positive change in mental health practices. Currently, Mr. Panti serves as the lead counselor for the Wellbeing and Counseling Division at Ryan International School in Ghana, where he also holds the position of a child protection officer. In this role, he is responsible for safeguarding students and providing training for staff, underscoring his commitment to fostering a safe and supportive educational environment. In addition to his primary role, Dr. Panti offers consulting psychotherapy services at several mental health institutions, including Fafanto Psych Organization, the Brain and Sleep Medical Hospital, and Psycho Matters Therapy and Wellness Center in Accra. His diverse past experiences include support roles at the Efia Nkwanta Regional Hospital, Winneba, Trauma and Specialist Hospital, Cornerstone International School, Mastercard Foundation's Ghana Goes Ghana program, YAM Education, among others. As a facilitator, Dr. Panti shares his expertise as a tutor at the University of Cape Coast, that's the College of Distance Education, specializing in psychology and special education courses. He is also an active executive member of Ment Hill Global, an NGO dedicated to advocating mental health education in Ghana and Africa. Outside of his professional endeavors, Dr. Panti is a practicing Catholic who enjoys singing in a choir. He finds inspiration in nature and travel, and is an avid movie enthusiast. A passionate Manchester United fan, he is particularly fascinated by discussions on the power of the mind and the power of sleep. So thank you very much, Dr. Panti, for joining us. And by the end of the session, I'll be sharing his contacts so that if you have any issues or if you need his assistance or services, you would be able to reach out to him. And so once again, welcome. And we've been joined by my co-host, Mr. Jones Kwesitabo. He'll be co-hosting with me. Dr. Panti, please, you may proceed with your presentation. Thank you. Dr. Panti, please, do we still have you on? And so while we look forward to having Dr. Panti comments, I'd like to extend our utmost gratitude for your patience and dedication to join us this evening. Thank you once again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. You're audible.
Okay. I think my audio was off, so I didn't really hear what you said earlier. Are we starting?
Yes, please. You may proceed. Yes, you may proceed.
Okay, all right. Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samuel Panti. I'm a clinical health psychologist, and currently with Arian International School. I also work with Fafanto Psych Organization. You can easily find me when you contact the GPC or the Ghana Psychology Association. Now, today we're going to have a very interesting conversation, and it's something that connects with all of us, especially regarding parents, teachers, students, workers, corporate workers, everyone at all. This topic is mostly not talked about that much, but hoping that today we're going to have a full-blown conversation on this so that persons who might have some challenges would want to learn from it and then take some steps for themselves as we go on. Right. Today is going to be an interactive session. So I would be asking some questions and we would have to put our answers in the chat box. So as and when we go on and the questions come, I'll give you a heads up on that. And then you put your answers on the chat box. All right. So for our outline today, we'll be having some activities, 2 activities on. We're going to talk about sleep and health. We're going to talk about the importance of sleep. We're going to talk about cycles of sleep and how this connects with us as persons. We're going to discuss some myths and some facts about sleep. We, as persons, we have created some perspectives about sleep. We're going to discuss that as myths. And I'll talk to you about 2 main hormones that connects to sleep. That's melatonin and adenosine. I'll be talking about sleep quantity and sleep quality and some common sleep disorders. And finally, the most important part that we should all take note of, and that is the tips of sleep hygiene. If you can hear me, please, can you show me like an emoji so I know that I'm not speaking to myself? Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So we continue. Now, have you ever realized, or have you ever noticed that when you go to the hospital, there are beds, only beds, and we don't have sofas, and we don't have kitchen stools, and we don't have lab benches, but what we have in the bed, in the ward, are beds. Have you observed that when you go to the pharmacy and then they are asking you permission, they are giving you drugs at the pharmacy, they tell you that you should take care of yourself, eat, drink water, take your medication, and the final part, they talk about sleep. Have you also realized that whenever you sleep very well, when you go to work or you wake up in the morning, you have a lot of energy to work through your day, to be open with your emotions, and you don't get too angry or that easy? Have you observed that sometimes when you wake up and you don't sleep too well, your emotions kind of changes, and then you are mostly on the edge? Are you someone who has challenges with your sleep? Are you someone who knows someone who has challenges with their sleep? Are you someone who has insomnia, that you wake up at dawn and you can't sleep again? Or you sleep and then you wake up several times in the night before you wake up finally in the morning? If you fall in any of these categories, today's session is for you. We're going to learn about sleep. We are going to learn some healthy tips for ourselves, and then some things we can do to support ourselves and our family members and our loved ones who might be going through some sleep challenges. Now, with our first activity, and this, I'm hoping I would want us to put in the chat box, how would you grade yourself? How would you grade your sleep quality from 1 to 10? So you can just put it in the chat box, how you grade your sleep quality in the chat box. And then I just want to know where we are all at, and then we'll take it from there. How do you grade your sleep quality as an individual, as a participant on the call? Is it 10 over 10? Is it 8 over 10? Is it 2 over 10? Is it 1 over 10? How do you grade your sleep generally? All right, so we have Matilda saying she grades her sleep 5 over 10. Bex saying that she grades her sleep 7 over 10. Martha is saying she grades her sleep 5 over 10, 4 over 10. Okay, right. We happen to have quite a number of participants. I'm hoping to see a lot. I don't know who is behind iPhone, but iPhone says he or she has 4 over 10 in grading. We have 6 over 10. Okay. So technically, you've not gotten anyone who is 8 You've not got anyone who is 9. And the highest so far is 7 and then 8. All right, we have as low as 2/10. Okay, from Dan. Okay, right. So definitely this is a conversation we need to have. 3/10 from Bruce. Okay, right, right. That's interesting. Okay, so we just continue. Those of us who would want to add up to want to continue grading your sleep, you can feel free to grade your sleep. So we are continuing. Now, so today's conversation, I'm going to let you understand one main thing. And the one main thing is this: sleep better and live better. That is all that I want you to take away today. Now, we're going to talk about the fact that it's important for us to sleep better, why we should sleep better, how we should sleep better, and how it impacts our lives. So we want to take only one thing away today. We're going to take sleep better and live better. Now, when it comes to sleep, sleep is connected to every aspect of us. Now, sleep is connected to our physical health, it's connected to our mental health, it's connected to our emotions, our moods, it's connected to how we relate with others, it's connected to how we are attentive and our alertness, it's connected to our memory. Sleep is literally connected to every aspect of us. Now, today's conversation will be delving more into how it's connected to mental health. And because there's a high possibility I'll be sharing the slides with you, I decided to add more information to the slides. So it didn't do it entirely PowerPoint, so that if you just take the PowerPoint or the document, you can get more information from it, even though it's just a PowerPoint, right? Now, how is sleep connected to us? How does sleep help us? Now, sleep helps our mental health, as I mentioned. It helps our muscle and our skin toning. It helps improve our productivity at work, as students, at our relationship with others. It helps reduce blood pressure. It helps reduce whether low blood pressure or high blood pressure. It helps reduce risk of diabetes. That's a physical health challenge. It helps to reduce stress levels. It gives us healthier skin and hair. It enhances our memory. It gives us fewer and lesser headaches and a stronger immune system. Now, sleep has some phases and some cycles. And based on the cycle that you find yourself, all these aspects or these good things that you get about sleep or from sleep, all of them fall in this cycle. Now, I'm going to take you through this cycle. There are two main forms of sleep. One is the non-REM sleep, and then the REM sleep. Now, the non-REM sleep literally is talking about a non-rapid eye movement sleep. So the REM is rapid eye movement. And then the down part, that is the rapid eye movement sleep. So the first one is non-REM sleep and the REM sleep. So simply put, the non-REM sleep is the kind of sleep that when you're sleeping, you're unconscious, your eyeball or your eyes does not move. It's quite stable. All right. Even if it moves slower, right? But when it comes to REM sleep, even though your eyes are closed, your eyeballs keep moving like this. Makes it look as if like you are very conscious, but you are not conscious. You're actually asleep. Now, in a cycle of sleep, we begin from the non-REM sleep and we gradually enter into the REM sleep. We leave the REM sleep and we go back into the non-REM sleep. And then we go back into REM sleep. And then we come back to non-REM sleep. So it's like we go in and then we come out, and then we go in again, and then we come out. Now, as you go in, there are some things that happen to you as a person. As you come out, there are some good things that you also get from sleep. So it keep on going in and going out. Now, going deeper, when it comes to the non-REM sleep, or when you are sleeping, you start with the N1, if you can see my cursor. You start with the N1, which is the lightest sleep, right? Which mostly happen within the first 15 10 minutes, 20 minutes of your sleep. You don't go too deep. Around that time, mostly people get power nap from the lightest sleep to the light sleep. So sometimes you'll be in class or you'll be at work and you are so tired and you just put your head on the table. Within some few minutes, you get up and you feel so energized. It's because you were just around the lightest sleep or the light sleep. That's the N2. Now, so you start from the N1, which is the lightest sleep, and gradually you enter into the N2, which is the light sleep. And then you gradually from N2 into the deep sleep. And then from the deep sleep, you enter into the REM sleep. And the interesting thing is you come out of it and then you go again. You come out of it and then you go again. And the number of hours that you stay in any of this cycle, you get something very special that we have been created to get when we sleep. Now, if you have actually realized, you know that we have 24 hours. Now, in the 24 hours, we have 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness. If it's not to be this Thomas Edison light where we are using right now for our presentation, this room would have been dark, your room would have been dark, and then it literally induces us into sleep. Now, so we as human beings, as mammals, we tend to specifically decide to delay our sleep, right? But naturally, we are supposed to have 12 hours of daytime for work and 12 hours of night for sleep. Now, this is the cycle of sleep. So you start from the lightest sleep, you go to the light sleep, you go to the deep sleep, and then you go to the REM sleep. Now, REM is basically for dreaming. Now, so at a REM sleep, that is where the things that you've exposed yourself to during the day get processed. So the people that you've seen and had conversations with during the day get processed in the REM sleep. The movies that you watched during the day get processed in the REM sleep. If you have an exam, the learning that you learned gets processed in the REM sleep. Your emotions, your feelings, the people that you attach yourself to, your boss that got you pissed during the day, it's processed in the REM sleep. Your wife or your husband that asks you an intriguing question that you never had an answer to gets processed in your REM sleep. Everything that happens from our senses most of the time gets processed in the REM sleep. So as a human being, if you go through this cycle and then you don't have some hours that you spend in the REM sleep, you are losing all these things that is attached to us as persons or as human beings. Now, in the N1 and the N2, what happens is when you sleep around that phase, you get energy, you get energized. So some of us can wake up, can sleep for about a long time, maybe 12 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours. We feel so energized, right? However, we probably didn't have much time to spend in the REM sleep. So we lose all the good things that we are supposed to get in the REM sleep. In the same way, sometimes we can sleep, have energy, more or less like you spend time in the N1 and the N2, but you couldn't have the time to spend much time in the N3. That's the deep sleep. And what do we get from the deep sleep? Tissue repair, muscle repair, in addition to the energy that you're going to get from N1, N2. So it's basically the number of hours you tend to spend in these phases or in this cycle or these specific places in your sleep that helps you to be who you are. If persons do not have enough time to sleep and get into the REM sleep, they tend to have mental health challenges. They tend to have physical health challenges is more connected to deep sleep because tissue repair happens there, healing happens there. But when you go to the REM sleep, our mental health challenges is mostly connected to our REM sleep. With energy, waking up, running, moving, all of them is connected to N1, N2. I hope you are following. I hope you are following. Can you please show me like an emoji and let me know that I'm not speaking to myself?
Yes, please, we are following.
Thank you very much. All right. Now, we're continuing. Now, I added this for us to explain a little better to what I started earlier. Now, so in the cycle of sleep, let's say the very first part is when you fall asleep. The lightest blue is where you fall asleep. The next blue is the lightest sleep. The next one is the stage 2. That's the light sleep. The next one is the deep sleep. And the fourth one is more or less like the deepest of the deep sleep, right? Now, the rapid eye movement mostly happen up here. That's the lightest sleep. But it doesn't happen when you start sleeping. It's only when you had gone into the deep sleep and you are coming out of the deep sleep, that the REM sleep do happen. That's where the process of all the things that you've exposed yourself to during the day do happen. So you enter into sleep, you go slowly into the lighter sleep, you go slowly into light sleep, you go slowly into the deepest sleep, and then you get out of it slowly, and you get to the REM sleep. And the REM sleep will process, and your eye movement will be like this. And then slowly you go deep again, into your deep sleep, and then you come out of it again into REM sleep. And then you go deep again. Now get to understand that as you go through the sleep processes, at a point in time, if you are not careful within the early stages or early hours of your sleep, you are going to lose the deep sleep. Now, deepest sleep happen mostly within the first to 3 hours of your sleep. Now, as you get to the 5th or the 4th hours of your sleep, you will move away from deeper sleep, and you're just around deep sleep to light sleep. And REM sleep also increases when it's getting to morning. So when it's getting to morning and you're waking yourself up automatically or naturally, you have more time for REM sleep. So it's around that time that you start realizing that you've had a dream, you've had a nightmare, something is making you feel uncomfortable. Some of us will probably even dream that we are urinating somewhere. By the time you realize it's happening on your bed. It's a point in time. All of them happen mostly in the morning when you're about to wake up. And that is you spending more time in your REM sleep. So all these phases of sleep have an impact in us. You have to be at least have the hours in order to sleep and have all these parts or all these good things that we get from sleep. Now you see how it's been calculated for 8 hours. If you are someone who do not sleep for 8 hours or 7 hours or at least 6 hours, you get to miss something in the course of this cycle of sleep. Either you will miss spending more hours in REM sleep, or you probably miss spending more hours in deep sleep. You certainly go through light sleep and the lighter sleep for energy, but you certainly lose some amount of hours in REM sleep and also in non-REM sleep, which is the deep sleep. Now let's build upon it. Now I try to connect, made you understand that I added more information just for us, just in case I share the slides afterwards, you can easily learn more about it. So I connected sleep to depression, and we know what depression is. If some of us have gone through depression before, or we know someone who's gone through depression before, all the information there is online, so it wouldn't matter for us to go too detailed in it. But the most important thing is, whenever you're going through depression, there's a high possibility where you go through either insomnia, hypersomnia, or non-restorative sleep. So insomnia is, which you already know. Hypersomnia mostly talk about the fact that you can sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep every time you feel like sleeping, right? Now, the impact of sleep on this has to do with when someone is going through insomnia, the person is mostly tired, the person is mostly tired and tends to have some negative thoughts. And in these negative thoughts, if you either go through hypersomnia or insomnia where you lack sleep or you are deprived of sleep, you tend to increase the propensity of you getting very tired or having suicidal thoughts very often. In the same way with anxiety, when you worry so much, which tends to affect your daily functioning, you tend to have challenges with irritability. So you don't feel okay, you don't feel comfortable, you can't relax yourself. You keep pacing, right? Some persons like that find challenges sleeping, and they would want to even rely on drugs or alcohol to sleep. Now, we have sleep connected to ADHD as well. Research talks about the fact that those who have ADHD have challenges with sleep. So mostly they wake up at dawn or in the night and they can't sleep again. So in the morning, they tend to have the energy to walk around and move around. However, because they didn't have the time to spend in the REM sleep, their attention span is very short. They are very hyper, they move around all the time, but their attention span tends to be really, really short. They don't fine tune with their emotions as well. It's all because they don't have enough time spent in the deep sleep. We have sleep also connecting to bipolar disorder as well, and all the mood disorders as well. Now, when you have sleep deficiency, it tends to trigger your mood changes very fast. But if someone tends to maybe have bipolar disorder and the person has a stable or good amount of sleep, which cuts across all the cycles or the phases of sleep, the person tends to have lesser changes in their mood going through bipolar. And of course, bipolar, you certainly have to take medication in addition to going through therapy, in addition to lifestyle changes. Now let's continue. These are some of the myths when it comes to sleep. And I'm sure we hear this a lot. If I miss any of them, you can put it in the chat box. I think we mostly hear this major one, which I don't think I even wrote it. Sleep is for the weak. This is mostly a major statement people talk about almost everywhere. Sleep is for the weak. When I die, I'll sleep more. It's not time for me to sleep. All of these are statements that we tend to give ourselves most of the time. Some of us believe that you can catch up sleep when you miss out. So for example, today, I decide to sleep at 2 o'clock and then I wake up like maybe 5. So I just sleep for 3 hours. And in my mind, when I start the next morning, I'll try to sleep in the afternoon by 12 o'clock to like 4 o'clock to catch up my sleep that I missed in the past night. It doesn't happen that way. It's a myth. People also think that alcohol helps them and improves their sleep. It doesn't happen that way either. People believe that when they smoke, it helps their sleep. It's a myth as well. People believe that everybody needs 8 hours. It's necessary for it to need 8 hours. However, some people are really trained in order to move through these stages of sleep faster. And you also understand that when you are younger, you need more sleep as compared to when you are older. In the bit that when you wake up, when a baby is born, a baby mostly sleeps during the day or mostly sleep during the time. Why? Because it's at that time that every other organs there is in the baby that is not fully grown or developed tends to develop. So it's only when you sleep that all these organs tend to develop. So it's not everyone who entirely, specifically is limited to 8 hours of sleep. Now, insomnia is always a long-term problem. Actually, when we learn to sleep better, we tend to live better. Insomnia is actually not a long-term problem. We have chronic insomnia, yes, but if you work at it, you'll be able to manage your sleep. Also, sleeping for long hours means you had a good sleep. No, there's a big difference between quality of sleep and quantity of sleep, and I'll talk about it as we go. Napping makes up for lack of nighttime sleep. As I said earlier, napping doesn't actually entirely make up for your nighttime sleep. It gives you the energy, yes. If you don't nap too well, it will affect you. And I'll explain that in connection to one of the hormones of sleep as we continue. Now, sleep is for the weak, of course. This is a major one that we most of the time hear about. These are the facts of sleep, all right? Some major facts about sleep. Now, as a human being, as I mentioned, you mentioned that I told you that we have 24 hours, 12 hours for light and 12 hours for darkness. Now, when somebody is 60 years, it actually means the person has slept for 20 good years. So we sleep 1/3 of our life or 1/3 of our age. So if somebody is on this call and you are 30 years, you slept for 10 years of your life. This, when I realized, when I figured this out, I realized it's weird, but it's what keeps us. It's the pillar of good health. It's necessary. That's why we have 12. That's why we don't have 16 hours and then a lower number of hours for sleep. We have exactly 12 hours for light, exactly 12 hours for darkness. That's for sleep. So you have to calculate and take your time and realize that sleep is super, super important. Now, when you sleep, one major factor is when you sleep, every part of your body tends to go unconscious. Like everything to go unconscious. Like, can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, right. I just had a feedback. That's why. Okay, so when you sleep, every part of your body shuts down except your heartbeat and then your breathing. These are the two things that, or two aspects of you that will still be active fully. Also, as human beings, as I mentioned, we are the only mammals who tend to willingly decide to delay our sleep. When goats are tired, they sleep. When it comes to the night, you see all the animals there is asleep, unless some of the animals who have been naturally created to walk at night or work at night. Aside them, we are supposed to sleep at night, but we decide to delay our sleep, pressing our phone or watching television, or decide to have a conversation on sleep in the night as we are doing right now. All right, taking medications or sleep medication disrupts our natural sleep order in the long term. Now, in the short term, it helps. So sometimes it's mostly given to persons who are going through sleep challenges. But in the long term, if you rely on it, you tend to be reliant on it, and it tends to affect you in the long term. So we continue. Now, why is this conversation about sleep very and so important for us to talk about now? Now, if you actually observe what's happening now, we have students, for example, if you are in Accra, I'll use that example. You wake up sometimes around 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. as early as that, sometimes 5 o'clock, 5:30. Maybe you are traveling or you're going to work. So you have supposed to move early, maybe from Amasaman into Accra. Or maybe you're supposed to move from Kaswa to East Legon or somewhere, or maybe Tema. You realize that when you enter the Trotsky or the public transport, there will be a student or some students in the car or others on the roadside waiting for a car to pick them or moving to the school around that time. When you see this, you just ask yourself, do they sleep at all? Did they even get the hours of sleep that they needed as students, as persons? You realize that some students stay on their laptops and their phone deep into the night. Mom and dad will be asleep, and then they will still have access to their phones under their blanket, and they do not sleep. Now, screen time has become like the norm or the trend. TikTok has become the trend. So it's key for us to talk about it. So we have to question ourselves. Are these students actually learning, or they are going through some of these challenges, or they are deprived of sleep and are deprived of all the good things that we get from sleep? Drivers as a major thing. You see most drivers drinking energy drinks most of the time. You see them waking up so early in the morning. They do not even sleep in the night. They sleep very late in the night and then wake up so early in the morning working and relying fully on energy drinks. They certainly are sleep deprived. It's a necessity for us to talk about because road safety accidents is happening. And most of them are because people do not have time to go through the sleep cycle, have more time in the REM sleep to give them the level of alertness that they need to drive. Bankers, if you have a friend who is a banker or any corporate worker, but especially bankers, you realize that they close very late in the night, sometimes 8, 9, and they wake up and they go very early as well. Now, if you stay far, you have to move away and move very early in the morning. Most of them are sleep deprived to the extent that it even affects them physically. Health workers, nurses specifically, because they run a shift system. Some of them go in the morning, some will go at night. So your sleep pattern, your circadian rhythm changes. You don't have a right time to sleep and a right time to wake up, or one time to sleep and one time to wake up. It keeps changing. Now, if it keeps changing consistently, your body does not connect for you to know your sleep pattern. So it tends to have a challenge. So they are also prone to having some challenges or deprived of sleep. Security personnel, be it police, military, immigration, all of them sometimes go for night duties, which tends to affect them. Politicians, always moving around, always going to other corners, whether students, politics, or the main politicians, all of them go through sleep deprivation. Parents, now if you are a parent who just giving birth like afresh, you get to realize that you have sleep challenges because your baby can wake up way in the morning and then that will be the time they want to play or they want to watch movie or they want to walk around and something, and it will tend to affect your sleep. Parents, it's challenging because sometimes in the night you also have to think. So it's necessary for us to talk about these aspects of sleep. Now, currently, we can realize that earlier, some time ago, blood pressure was more connected to older people. Now, it's not so. Blood pressure seems to be connected to even younger people, way younger than the adults. The younger ones are getting it faster than the adults. Now, it becomes very necessary for us to talk about sleep because sleep is directly connected to blood pressure. Stress levels. Stress levels are a major thing, and it cuts across everywhere, whether being a student, whether being a lecturer, a worker, it cuts across everywhere. When you get more time to sleep, you get the energy in your N1, N2, lighter sleep and light sleep, you get your energy back. When you get your deep sleep, you get all the tissues repaired, you get healed, you get your energy back, and your stress level gets reduced. If not, and you don't go through this sleep cycle, you have issues with your stress. Now, stress levels have increased. You see people tired most of the time. You see people in Trotsky and they are sleeping. You see some people even driving their own private cars, and then when there's traffic and they pause, you see them like this. Sometimes when you're going to work, just pause, just look through your window and look at people in and their Trotskys or their own public transport or whatsoever, or private cars. You realize that almost everybody is tired and they are moving, and we are moving all the time, right? Now, night programs. I put this night program because yesterday I decided to watch, I planned to watch the TGMA, right? I couldn't watch it because it's late in the night. And I realized that most of these major programs, it's mostly done in the night. Why should it be in the night? Now, the system has been created in such a way that the trend is do it in the night. Now, people also go. People stay up and watch this late into the night. It affects their sleep. So sleep is necessary for us to talk about this conversation today and throughout our lives. Trends. Now, we have people doing shisha and vaping and drinking and all that. It's a trend. People like that. Now, this has been research has found that it affects our sleep. It doesn't help our sleep. It gives us fragmented sleep. Doing so is a major thing. It's not something political. Now, when it happens that way, it also affects our sleep because you need our room to be colder, not warm or hot. Red or alcohol. Of course, we've had a red medication where people tend to take and they feel like they want to sleep or help them to sleep. Actually, it doesn't entirely help you to sleep because it doesn't help you to go through all the sleep cycle entirely. Now, low level of education because people don't know much about sleep, and also game addiction. So it's necessary for us to talk about sleep because it affects every angle of us and across a lot of people. Please, I'm continuing, so I won't take much of your time. Now, this is a research I did myself this year. That's about a month or two ago, when I was going through one of my programs, PGD with University of Cape Coast. Now, in my research, I checked, or my focus was to check the influence of sleep quality on the psychological well-being of teachers in Accra. I used 134 participants, teachers. Now, the most intriguing part of my research, which I was really interested in, is the sleep quality. I realized that only 9% out of the 109% representing 12 participants out of the 134 participants are the only people who have good sleep. The remaining have average or poor sleep. Most of them fell in the category of average sleep, which is not good sleep. So they also lack some hours of sleep. We have a high percentage of 23.9, way higher than those who had good sleep. So this is intriguing, and this is actually in teachers who tend to be the one teaching their students. If they are tired, if they are going through stress, they are going through challenges with their physical health, mental health, how would they be able to lead our students properly going forward? I'm going to talk about these two main hormones, the melatonin and sleep, and then adenosine and sleep. Melatonin is a very simple one. Now, whenever we are sleeping, we mostly advise that you have to get your light in the room dimmer or totally off so that the place will be darker. Why should it be so? Because we've been created as human beings, as mammals, in order to get the sleep hormone called melatonin being produced only at night. Now, when it's daytime, melatonin doesn't get produced. It only produces only at night when the room is darker. So if you don't get your room darker, melatonin doesn't get produced. Melatonin is connected to a lot of advantages for ourselves, including our skin, including our hair growth, right? And including anti-aging. So if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough melatonin, it tends to affect you. So we just want you to understand that when it comes to your sleep, Melatonin is key, and it only gets produced when your room is darker. The next one that I'll talk about is adenosine. Now, I'm talking about this in connection to napping, and those of us who nap and feel that napping helps us and help us to regain or catch up with our sleep. When you wake up in the morning, right, to make it a very simple and to us to understand, we wake up with an empty bottle. So we use the liquid in the empty bottle, for example, as adenosine. Adenosine is something that relaxes us as if it gets full, right? If it gets full, it needs to come out through relaxation and sleep. And then when we are done with the whole adenosine that has filled the bottle or whatever, it has to come up again little by little, right? And then get us relaxed again, and then we go back to sleep. So you wake up in the morning with an empty bottle. There's no adenosine in us. I'm not saying there's no, actually, it's not enough to get us to sleep because you spent all of them doing sleep. So you wake up in the morning, some few hours after you wake up, the adenosine level tends increasing little by little in your bottle, put it that way. And then after a lot of hours after sleep, it gets filled up, and then it gets to the time where you are supposed to sleep. So as you're sleeping, you are letting away your adenosine until it becomes an empty bottle. Now, if during the day, you get here, maybe around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock, or maybe 4 o'clock in the evening, let's use 4 o'clock in the evening, and then you nap, maybe you nap for 2 hours. When you nap for 2 hours, that means you are emptying this full bottle of adenosine into a cup, for example. So that means adenosine is supposed to help you to sleep in the night or relax you in the night. You spend some of them do napping. So when the time is due for you to sleep, the bottle is not full yet, unless it takes a while for it to get full again before you get to sleep. But if you have a shorter sleep or a shorter nap, for example, during the day, it's not the whole adenosine that you use or you let go. So you have some, and it doesn't take too long for your bottle to get filled up again. Now, if you let go, if your napping is not good enough, that means your adenosine level is always not at the right or balanced in order to help you to have good sleep in the night. So napping is key. Napping is important. Napping helps us. However, we should be able to manage our nap in such a way that it doesn't affect our sleep that much. I'm hoping that we understand. All right, so our next engagement activity, just to help us to be able to know that we are following this conversation. Whenever you are going to sleep, and the question is, whenever you are going to sleep, how many hours do you aim or target to sleep at night? How many hours? Do you even think about it? How many hours do you target to sleep at night? Let's try and put this into our chat box, and then I'll read it out, and let's see where we are. Question again, whenever we are going to sleep, how many hours do you target to sleep at night? Is it 2 hours? Do you target 6 hours? Do you target 8 hours? Do you target 7 hours? Do you target 4 hours? How many hours do you target to sleep? All right, so I've seen 6 hours, I've seen 7 hours. Oh, Charles, thank you so much. I totally forgot about that. I talked about teachers as well. All right, next one. We have 7 hours. Haiti, Bex is 6 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 7 to 8 hours. If someone is saying I don't really time it. Okay, I like that. 8 hours for adults. So we know that 8 hours is supposed to be for adults. But when you are going to sleep, how many hours do you target yourself to be able to get your sleep? Right? Any hours available. Okay, interesting. Any hours available, right? 8 hours. Okay. Now, you targeting 8 hours to sleep. Do you actually get 8 hours of sleep? Do you actually get 7 hours of sleep? Do you actually get the 5 hours or 6 hours that you've targeted for sleep? Why is it necessary? Why is it important for us to have that long hours of sleep? Or why is it necessary for us to have that quality of sleep? So when we say quality of sleep, we are talking about the number of hours you tend to spend in the cycle of sleep, whether REM sleep through non-REM sleep into REM sleep and into non-REM sleep into REM sleep. Now that's the quality of sleep, how you're able to spend more time in that. And the quantity of sleep is how many hours do you tend to keep in order for you to go through all these stages. So we have the quantity of sleep and the quality of sleep. You can have quantity of sleep, but no quality of sleep. But you cannot have enough quality sleep without quantity sleep. Quality sleep is key, and underlining for quality sleep is mostly longer hours of sleep. That's quantity of sleep. However, you can have quantity of sleep, but you can't have quality of sleep if you do not have time to go through all these stages of sleep. Meaning, when you take alcohol, you have fragmented sleep. So you wake up most of the time to drink water, to go to the washroom. And when you go to the washroom and you come back, you're going to start a process again from lighter sleep, through light sleep, through deep sleep, and then REM sleep. So maybe you go through the first process and you wake up to go pee. When you come back again, well, if you're not careful and you pick your phone, it would even take more longer, right? Okay, so quantity and quality of sleep has already been explained. These are some of the some disorders about sleep that we go through. Some of them are not bad. Some of them, it's connected to REM sleep, and I'll let you know. So you have chronic insomnia, which I've talked about, sleep apnea, which has to do with your breathing. So more or less like those who snore. So your breathing and oxygen flow in you is not entirely right because you snore. Now, this can actually affect your sleep as well. So at a point in time, your body naturally will wake you up to turn yourself. And then when it turn yourself and you tend to wake up, or if you have a partner and it disturbs your partner will wake you up. And when you get waked up and woken up, you have to start the process again. So sleep apnea could affect your sleep. Restless leg syndrome is another major one where your leg is mostly shaking. This, you don't often see it, but people might have restless leg syndrome as well. You have narcolepsy. This is a really interesting one where you kind of sleep at any time, anywhere. You might be driving and then you just sleep. You might be walking and you just sleep like that. There's no timing for sleep, right? If you have narcolepsy, it's a major thing. You have to make sure that you see, go to the hospital for support. Now we have parasomnias. This is quite a number of it. So there's the category that has to do with sleepwalking, sleep talking, nightmare terrors, and mostly connected to REM sleep. So these are the ones that sometimes you feel that you are urinating somewhere, by the time you realize it's on your bed. You feel like you are spitting somewhere, by the time you realize it's on your bed. All of these fall under this. And it's not entirely bad. It's mostly fall under the REM sleep. So in the REM sleep, as I mentioned, all the things that you've engaged your five senses with get processed in your REM sleep. So your mind is, or your brain is really working at that time, but you're unconscious. The spikes of your brain goes very high within that time, but you're actually unconscious, right? Sleep paralysis is the same thing. It also connected to REM sleep. Sorry. Bruxism. This one has to do with people grinding their teeth or putting their teeth together very strong when they are in the REM sleep. That's another sleep disorder. We have hypersomnia, where people can actually sleep throughout the whole day. That's also a sleep disorder that you are supposed to work on. These are just pictorials for us to figure out how our sleep is like. You might wake up at 2 a.m. and you might be looking like this because you are so tired. You might be pressing your phone whilst you are sleeping, and this tends to affect you because of the blue light effect. You might be overworking and maybe woke up in the morning not sleeping too well. You are so tired and your bed probably is not as clean as it's supposed to be. And then probably someone who is thinking and tends to use alcohol to induce their sleep. Now, how do you improve your sleep? We're getting to the end of our session. How do you improve your sleep as a person? How do you work on your sleep? One, you have to be able to maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Now, maintain a consistent sleep schedule means when you sleep at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, make sure around 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you go through your sleep ritual in order to sleep around that time. Sleep ritual doesn't mean the Nigerian movies where you're supposed to do things. We're not talking about that one. Sleep ritual is like a consistent behavior you do, or some things that you do before you go to sleep. That's the sleep ritual I'm talking about. So if you're someone who read your Bible before you go to sleep, or you tend to journal before you go to sleep, or you tend to talk to mom before you go to sleep, or dad before you go to sleep, or have conversations with your partner before you go to sleep, finish your homework, anything that you do before you sleep, it's a ritual. Maybe you want to iron your clothes before you go to sleep, and you want to meditate before you go to sleep. It's part of the ritual, right? Now, you're supposed to maintain a consistent sleep schedule, the wake up time and the sleeping time. If you have actually been observant, you realize that sometimes you don't set alarm before you wake up, but you sleep, your target is to wake up at 5 o'clock. By the time you realize, you wake up around 4:59, 4:50, 5 o'clock, 5:01, 4:55, just around 5 o'clock, but without any alarm. The human body or the human system is a really interesting one. The connection between the body, the soul, which contains the mind and the spirit, it's really interesting if you go deeper into it. Now you'll be able to wake up even without alarm if you consistently wake up around that time. So sometimes you have your alarm set for 5, the alarm wouldn't even ring, you'll be up because your body system has picked that as your wake up time. In the same way as your sleep time. If you sleep at 10 consistently, naturally when it gets to 10 o'clock, your body tends to become tired automatically because you sleep around 10 o'clock. Now it's picking up your sleep pattern. So if you're someone like a nurse who tends to wake up and then you go to night duty and afternoon duty and morning duty and you change your sleep pattern consistently, you'll be having some challenges like this unless you tend to be consciously decide to stay balanced with your sleep, and it's 100% possible. Now, next one is avoid caffeine or alcohol before bed. Now, caffeine in the sense that those of us who take coffee, now coffee takes about, the caffeine in coffee takes about 4 hours to leave our system. So if you take coffee closer to your bedtime, it tends to affect your sleep. But if you take coffee in the morning, you can still have good sleep in the night because by the time it will be sleep time, the caffeine level in your system has reduced. Alcohol, as I mentioned, fragments your sleep because you want to wake up several times to pee and you go through this. It's connected to water as well. If you take so much water as well, it's the same way that you also be going through. If you eat and you overeat in the night, especially probably there's oil, your breathing, you'll be worrying your heart, you have some chest bends, or you might be feeling that the oil is in your throat and you can't turn yourself and breathe properly. That's the reason it's necessary for us to sleep. Eat way some hours before you go to sleep. Now, avoid oversleeping. I've talked about it. Manage your screen time. Now, manage your screen time is really key. Those of us who tend to watch movies and videos and TikTok and TGMA late into the night, it tends to affect your sleep because you don't really, you have the blue light effect or of course, the blue light effect, which is in every screen, whether phone or whether TV or whether the bright light in our room, you tend to have the blue light effect, which naturally speaks with our brain or communicates with our brain that it's still daytime because this has been created for us to feel that it's daytime, but actually it's night, right? So you have to supposed to manage your screen time before you go to bed. And of course, some of the things that you still capture in during your screen time, some of them might be horrific, some of them might be very emotional, and it can still make you think in your way to going to bed, and it'll still slow down your sleep time. You wear loose and free clothing before you go to bed. You don't wear too tight things because it doesn't make you feel comfortable. So if you're not careful, it will delay you to going to bed. It also not help with blood flow. So advisably, those of us who wear jeans and then a belt and we get so tired, and when we come home, we just put ourselves on the bed without removing our socks and our trousers and all that. It doesn't help us. All right, so I think I've used a lot of time. Continuing, you have to keep your bedroom and your bed very cozy and comfortable. You're supposed to keep your room temperature cold because research says that those who stay in a colder room or a colder space tend to sleep faster than those who sleep in a warmer or a hotter space. Keep your bed only for sleep. Those of us who use our bed for everything, watch movies, make phone calls, read, do makeup, do all those things there is on your bed without specifically using it for sleep, it tends to affect your sleep as well. So you lay your bed in the morning, you don't go to the bed unless you want to sleep. If you continuously do this, it'll be very easy for you to sleep. You put yourself on the bed and it becomes very easy for you to sleep. Now, if you have a very, okay, right. If you have a very very good speaker or a very sound, a very quiet one, In the night, you can use 432 hertz of sound for sleep. And this can be found on YouTube. It can be found on Apple Music. It can be found on Spotify. Those of us who use Spotify for every music there is, you can use this as an opportunity to work on your sleep as well. The good thing is when you use the 432 hertz of sleep or for sleep, it's just some particular sounds. There are different sounds. Some of them are comfortable for you. Some of them might not be too comfortable for you, but you choose the one that's comfortable for you. If it's toned very low, it tends for you to go deep, deep, deep into your sleep. You get more deep sleep, right? You wake up more refreshed. So some of us can try it and then we'll see how it goes for you. You can give me feedback and then we'll see how it goes for you, all right? Next one is sleep when you are sleepy. When you are tired, sleep. Don't stress yourself. Don't decide to be one of the mamas, as in we will decide to delay our sleep intentionally. Don't do that. When you are tired and you want to sleep, sleep. That will be the time for you to sleep. It's not the time for you to go and put your leg in the water, go and wash your face, make your eyes this way, or do something just to get yourself to sleep. When you are tired, please find time to sleep. It's a natural way of your body telling you that you need to sleep. We should understand that with all this that we've learned, sleep is actually not a bargain. It's not something that you want to just play around. It's non-negotiable. It's a pillar of good health. That's how come we have 12 hours of sleep, 12 hours of daytime, and 12 hours of night for sleep. Exactly proportionate, right? So 12 hours, 12 hours. So it's necessary for us to sleep. So it's non-negotiable. Let's take that. And again, with the very first thing that I started with, if you want to take anything at all out of today's session, is this: sleep better and live better. Thank you very much for your audience. I hope I didn't talk much. It was just 40 or 45 minutes. It wasn't much. But I appreciate the opportunity given me to share my ideas concerning or regarding sleep. Please, if you have any question, you can go forward and ask your questions, and then how I can support you, I'll support you, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti, for the time and in-depth lecture on the impact or the role of sleep on our mental well-being or mental wellness. Once again, I'd like to share Dr. Panti's profile. He is a dedicated clinical health psychologist with a strong commitment to promoting mental health among children, young adults, and families across Africa and beyond. With extensive experience as both a therapist and a mental health advocate, he is passionate about driving positive change in mental health practices. Currently, Dr. Panti serves as the lead counselor for the Wellbeing and Counseling Division at Al Rayyan International School in Ghana, where he also holds the position of Child Protection Officer. In this role, he is responsible for safeguarding students and providing training for staff, underscoring his commitment to fostering a safe and supportive educational environment. In addition to his primary role, Dr. Panti offers consulting psychotherapy services at several mental health institutions, including Fafanto Psych Organization, the Brain and Sleep Mental Hospital, I'll take that again. In addition to his primary role, Dr. Panti offers consulting psychotherapy services at several mental health institutions, including Fafanto Psych Organization, the Brain and Sleep Medical Hospital, and Psycho Matters Therapy and Wellness Center in Accra. His diverse past experiences include support role at the Efia Nkwanta Regional Hospital, Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital, Cornerstone International School, Mastercard Foundation's Ghana Grow Program, YAM Education, among others. As a facilitator, Dr. Panti shares his expertise as a tutor at the University of Cape Coast, College of Distance Education, specializing in psychology and special education courses. He is also an active executive member of Ment Hill Global, an NGO dedicated to advancing mental health education in Ghana and Africa. Outside his professional endeavors, Dr. Panti is a practicing Catholic who enjoys singing in a choir. He finds inspiration in nature and travel and is an avid movie enthusiast. A passionate Man United fan, he is particularly fascinated by discussions on the power of the mind and the power of sleep. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Panti, and to every one of us who made time to join us. Again, I'd like to invite you to share your thoughts. If you have a question, you may please use the raise hand button and we shall call you. And so we have a couple of questions in the chat box. So please, am I audible? I'd like to read them out for you so that
Yeah.
you give a
Yes.
okay. So this is from Mr. Eric Ni Tete. Do you have a platform where we can join for more information and education? I guess this will be to us, right? Or
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, and to some extent, it could be for me as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
but
okay, please go on.
side as well.
Okay, so yes, Mr. Tete, mental Purple Wellbeing show comes off every Sunday at 7 p.m. You can share your contacts with us in a private chat, and then we would as well share with you whenever we are having a program. But it comes off every Sunday at 7 p.m. If you like to reach Doc, before you come on or you address, let me share. May I go ahead to share your contact, please?
My email will do. I'll put
Okay.
my email in the chat box.
All right. So I'll place it in the chat box for us all to have it, and as well reach out to him whenever you need any assistance. Doc, please, any location, any means to locate you?
Yes. To find me is actually with Fafanto Psych Organization. That's the easier way to find me. Or Arian International School. It's very easy to get me at Arian International School. So I'm putting all the information there is in the chat box, and then if there's anything, you can just find me from there. Or as I added my LinkedIn account, you can follow me on my LinkedIn account. That you get every information there is, and how easy for you to find me. It's on my LinkedIn. It's just my name, Samuel Panti. Find me there. The man with a very controversial surname. You can just find me there. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Panti. And the next question is from Mr. Joel Achar. I hope I mentioned that right. Is there any empirical evidence between personality traits, that's ocean, and sleep? Simply put, personality traits and sleep.
Right. I have not come across specific research on that. If I have, I will let you know. However, if I'm just coming off as a professional based on understanding different personalities and how it's connected to sleep, yes, it would certainly have some challenges with persons with some particular personalities on this style of personality, one is like ocean, openness, conscientiousness, and the rest, will certainly have some challenges with sleep. For example, someone who is open, someone who is open-minded, someone who doesn't take too much things or too many things to heart. Someone like that will not be too worried about things and will not have so many things on their minds for it to affect their sleep when they are going to sleep in the night. However, someone, for example, who is going through nepotism, someone who thinks more negative, right? Or someone who is not agreeable, right? You tend to have some challenges with your sleep because in the night, that's when you are going back during the day to run through every person that you had met in the day and see how things happen during the day and the what you should have said and what you shouldn't have said and how you should have done things and some of the things that you shouldn't have done. Everything there is around that time, which tends to delay your sleep in the night. So if coming from a professional background, yes, personality will certainly have an influence on sleep. But empirically, or with empirical evidence, I have not come across that for reading. But if you have that, please, you can share with us and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much, Dr. Panti. And so once again, this has been the Purple Wellbeing Show in collaboration with the Ghana Psychological Association. This has been the Purple Wellbeing Show, but in collaboration with the Ghana Psychological Association. That's the Paralay and Associate Division. And we are being supported by the Great Commission Movement of Ghana, Alpha Wave Consult, and House of EBQ. Okay, so please, any further questions? Sir Charles, please, I've read all questions that has been sent. But if there is more, kindly share with us. You may use the raise hand button or you just unmute and ask your questions, please. Okay, so we have Sir Jones. That's the national executive. He's a national executive member of the Ghana Psychological Association. And he's joining us. Sir Jones, are you able to talk?
Yeah. Thank you. I was supposed to be a co-host this evening, but I was on a transit and just go home. That's why I was not stable on the call. But yes, I was listening in at some point, and it's great. So let's continue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's good to have you around. And so Sir Charles is asking, is it okay to wear socks to bed? Dr. Panti, over to you, please.
Okay, I can't categorically give an answer straightforward because depend on the socks that you're wearing. As I mentioned, you should not be wearing very tight clothing. So if the socks is loose enough and you feel comfortable being in the socks, that's okay. But if it's really tight, it's not so advisable because blood flow will be a problem. As I mentioned, every part of your body goes or shuts down except your breathing and your heart, right? So in that event where you are in a socks and maybe the socks is very tight, it could worry you. I mean, I've learned and opened myself up to some information where even some people put onions in their shorts and their socks, or they put garlic in their socks in order to sleep. And when you sleep, it tends to clear toxins and all that. So yes, I've gotten exposed to some things like that, but research-wise, I'm not so sure. But so far as the socks is not tight and it's loose and you feel comfortable in it and it helps you sleep, why not? I mean, sometimes the weather is really cold and you want to put on very heavy clothing. So if socks is loose and it can help you to sleep, I think that's okay. It's no big deal at all. And of course, just to add up with from what you're saying, I go with Sir Jones far back. Sir Jones actually was my senior in school. He's a brother actually. He's giving me a lot of, like I say, life advice and tips. Very calm man actually. When we started, Sir Jones has been awesome actually. So it's been an inspiration. I'm glad that today he's on a call. And just want to say thank you for guiding us when we started and even till now. So thank you, Sir Jones. Please, let's continue.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti, and thank you, Madam Rejoice, for your question. So we also have Madam Sabi or Sir Sabi. Please, is 10 okay, it's 10, I don't know, but then, Madam Sabi, could you come again? But Doc, let me read it to you. Probably you know the terms. or you can help me out with it. Okay, so Madam Sabi or Sabi is asking, is 10-3-2-1 sleep routine helpful in managing sleep paralysis?
Okay, right. I saw the question. I'll be glad if probably she could unmute and talk about it because I really do not know what she's talking about entirely. If I know, maybe it's termed differently. So I'm not so sure whether it's when you're going to sleep and you have to count back in order to help you to sleep faster. That's a way and one of the tips you can use in getting yourself into relaxation before you sleep. I'm not so sure whether that is it or if there's something else. So if she could unmute to talk about it, I think I'll be open to that.
Very
Maybe
well.
you can put all the questions together. I think I've seen about 3 different questions. You can put all the questions together, then I can answer all of them together.
All right, please. So, Madam Sabi, please could you please unmute and ask your question? That way we can have doctor respond to you. And so
Hello.
please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
I didn't join you early, but then when I saw your topic about sleeping scheduling, so I just brought this one up for a discussion or something. I thought you had mentioned or talked about it. That's why I added a follow-up note that I didn't join early. So I don't know if my question is out of place or not. Forgive me anyway. 10, 3, 2, 1. It's a routine. Since we are talking about sleep scheduling, it's just like sleep hygiene. So I just wanted to find out if that can help in managing sleep paralysis, because the 10 represents the fact that 10 hours before you sleep, you don't take in anything coffee. And then 3 hours before you sleep, you don't eat. Then 2 hours before you sleep, you don't work. I think that I should have added a 0. Then 1 hour before you sleep, you don't do screen time, something like that. So I just wanted to find out if you inculcate that in your sleep hygiene, it can help you in managing your sleep paralysis. Thank you.
Okay.
I hope it's clear now.
It's very clear, Madam Salvi. I really appreciate that you share this with us.
We can all do some readings around it anyway.
Yeah, that's great
Thank
information. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we go to the next question, please?
All right, so we have Sergeant's asking, some people find it difficult to sleep when the lights are on. Any signs to that?
Right, yes. We do have some persons who are probably going through some traumatic issues. So they are scared of the darkness. So they prefer to have the light on. So that's basically some of the reasons persons like to have their light on. Betis, I personally, when I was in school, during my master's time, I got robbed in my room and it was very traumatic. So it got to a point when I'm sleeping, I keep my light on, especially in the early days. And I kept waking up several times because I just didn't want to miss or lose anything again. So something like this could be someone who has also gone through a challenge like that. However, as time goes on and the person is opened to using a lower light, it's like something that is not too bright, in order to enhance the production of melatonin, I think that would be very great. So yes, that is what I know concerning that aspect. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you also. And thank you, Sergeant, for the question. Mr. also Alphonse, please, you have a question. Would you like to unmute or you share in the chat box?
Hello, I would like to unmute and talk.
Okay, please go ahead.
Please, my question is, I've noticed that sometimes, especially during the daytime, if I should sleep more than 45 minutes, time is up to 1 hour. When I wake up, I feel like I've slept the whole day and I also feel very weak. But if I should just sleep for just 15, 20 minutes, I'm okay. What is the cause for that one? Thank
Right.
you.
I'm going to try to figure out whether I got your question very well. You mentioned that in the course of the day, when you nap, I'll use the word napping, for a longer number of hours, when it gets to the night, it's a challenge for you to sleep. Is that what you're trying to say?
Not when it gets to the night. What
Okay.
I'm trying to say is if I should sleep, like nap during the daytime, like nap up to more than 45 minutes, when I wake up, I feel like I've slept for the whole day, or my body I also feel very weak.
Right. Right. That's interesting. Okay, so I'll take you back to the slide on this. It's more connected to the level of adenosine we have inside us as persons. Now, as I was trying to explain, during the day, as your adenosine level is increasing, that will help you to feel relaxed and engage your sleep or make your sleep better. Now, if you tend to sleep or have some nap for a longer period of time, as I mentioned earlier, you tend to more or less like finish or lose some bit of your adenosine level, right? Now, in the course of your sleep as well, I'm not so sure. It could be that you probably have gone into the deep sleep, or you didn't entirely complete the whole cycle of sleep. So maybe it could be that you're still in the state of trance, depending on which level that you got into and you got out of the sleep. That's why it's happening that way. But a bit of it is, if as a person, you've observed that about yourself, where around 45 minutes of napping tends to make you very weak and very tired, then advisably, you should try not to nap for that long. If you can reduce the number of hours of your nap, that will help you. Because if you probably have this nap closer to your sleep time, it could probably delay your sleep time as well. So knowing yourself is a key. It's a key, is a more or less like the first step in healing, or the first step in taking major decisions to support or help yourself. So just knowing yourself alone helps. So please, if you've observed that about you, you can work around it for yourself. Please note this as well. There are individual differences. There are some persons who would be able to sleep during having this 45 hours of napping and still be able to sleep at night. They are always outliers. We all don't fall in the same category. But when it comes to the typical person, or usually the general, most persons fall in the category where if you nap for a very long time, you tend to lose a level of your adenosine, which tends to affect your sleep late in the night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti. Seth Jones comes again. There is this analogy that when you are anxious for sleep not coming in itself increases insomnia. Is there any science in that?
Yeah, that's true, 100%. Now, it is mostly connected to persons who have anxiety or anxious, mostly as you mentioned, anxious about, but mostly persons who have anxiety, right? Now, if you open them to understand, or some persons to understand, that sleep is key and you're supposed to get this number of hours of sleep and you're supposed to go through all these routines and go through the cycle of sleep, they tend to think about it and ask so many questions. Some of them tend to, during the day or during the night when they are sleeping, keep on looking at the watch, keep on checking the time. When they wake up, they just check the time they woke up. When they are going to sleep, they check the time they are going to sleep. They want to keep a schedule. When they wake up to wee or go to pee or something, they want to write the time down. They are always scared that maybe when they are going to sleep, it will be shorter time, or it will not be enough for them to go through all the sleep schedule. Just the thought of it consistently would tends to affect their sleep. So yes, there is a science to that. Persons who have that kind of fear concerning sleep tends to go through that. Yeah, insomnia is mostly some extent caused by person who are anxious. Now, so you see, when you are going to sleep within the very first for the hours, I like what Madam, isn't Nabi Sabi talked about.
Sabina is a female.
Oh, the Sabina. All right, Madam Sabina talked about the fact that before you go to bed, you should not be opening yourself up to screen, which we've talked about earlier. And also the fact that you should not be working in all that. Now, if someone who is about going to bed, maybe you've gone through all the procedures and the processes to go to bed, but when you get to bed, here's you being anxious about some things that happen during the day, some things that your worry is about how your sleep will be like, and whether you snore or whether your pattern will wake you up, or all those things there is you think about sleep. Yes, will slow or delay your timing of even getting into sleep. So yeah, there is a science behind that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. So we have Madame Becky. All right.
Becca.
Okay.
Hello.
So Madame
Becca.
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Okay,
I
hi.
want to ask, yeah, this is Becca. I would like to ask if bruxism can be cured, or what can be done to manage it if it can be cured.
Okay, all right. All right, advisably, I would suggest you visit facility for support. I can't say I'm too deep into knowing the exact cure for that. So advisably, please, you can visit any facility for support on that. I know we have trying to figure out a facility there is that deals with sleep. It's at Abokobi. Maybe you can contact me later. I'll link you to that. And any other facility there is concerning it. Yeah. And we can work on that. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Panti. Thank you, Madame Becca. Okay, so Sir Jones comes again. He says, I know a young man who talks a lot while sleeping. At times, he can wake up in very unconscious state and watch around and go back to sleep. He doesn't remember doing anything like that when he's awake, and you tell him about what he did. Would you like to talk about that?
Right. Thank you. All right. So as I was talking about the REM sleep and the non-REM sleep, this happens in the REM sleep. This happens at a point in time when the individual has gone through the process or the cycle of sleep and now in the REM sleep. And it's at that stage that some of these things do happen. So around that stage, dreaming is happening, nightmares are happening, things are going on in the brain, which literally the brain is really active and working, but the person is actually unconscious, right? The person is not conscious. So the person doesn't see what's happening. In a situation like that, of course, just like Becca asked, you can visit a sleep center for more support on that. Now, we have to some extent some persons who even, as I mentioned, wake up and walk around and forget that they are walking around. So as a loved one for such a person, you provide plans in the room that will help the person to keep by themselves in the room and not probably hurt themselves when they wake up at the night and decide to walk around. But scientifically, persons who go through challenges like waking up and talking, laughing and going back to bed, walking around and going back to bed, scientifically, it's not like I won't say it's a bad thing. It's actually not a bad thing. It's still the person still being in the REM sleep, which the person is having some time to be spent in the REM sleep. But if it's going to cause harm to the person, that is when you are supposed to make plans, maybe in your room to keep the person safe, or take a step to take the person to a health facility or a sleep facility to support the person more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti. Again, Sir Jones was asking, what will you advise people who quickly go for pill to sleep, even if the sleep difficulty is not organically caused?
Right. As I mentioned earlier, sleep pills for sleep, they are helpful, but in a shorter period of time, not for the longer period of time. Now, when you keep on taking sleep pills, it gets a point in time where you will not just need one pill. You'd want to take 2 or 3 pills. your sleep pattern or your sleep timing or circadian rhythm tends to change. So advisably, when you are going through like a challenge with sleep, it may be that there are some changes that you can do in order to help you to sleep better, but you do not know about it. So in case you're going through some challenges like that, it's advisable for you to open yourself up for a counseling session or a therapy session, or you can speak with any professional there is, and then you can work on it. It could be that you, even for example, you are not treating your bed as the actual, like a place for sleep, but you're treating your bed for everything. Maybe you are using your bed for making calls, reading, eating, watching TV, watching movies, every other thing there is on your bed, which it tends to affect your sleep. So in that situation, you have to open yourself up for more education before you rely on just medication. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti. Thank you very much, Sir Jones. And so we had Sir or Madam Jewel Acha. She says her question has been answered. Madam Sabi, please, your hand is up. Kindly unmute and ask your question or share your thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know if I am permitted. I just wanted to take this opportunity to explain the routine I mentioned earlier, if it's allowed.
Yeah, Madam Sabina. Yeah, you seem to know more about it. Please, you can add up. It's we are all
Okay. So the routine is actually 10, 3, 2, 1, 0 sleep routine. Okay. It's a strategy, kind of sleep hygiene that helps one to sleep or have a better sleep. So the 10, like I said earlier on, represents you avoiding anything that contains caffeine. At least don't take anything that contains caffeine 10 hours before you sleep. And there are quite a number of reasons for that. I'll just explain a few of them. You know, caffeine takes a longer time. It stays in the system for a long time, especially if your metabolism is bad. Okay. So if you do take caffeine 10 hours, I mean, maximum before your bedtime, it's definitely going to affect your sleep because you may still have the lingering effects in your system by the time you wanted to wind down. That's just one reason. And then again, it will also disrupt your sleep because I think I heard you talk about the adenosine. Yes. Caffeine can disrupt or even block these adenosines if taken at the wrong times. And this might delay the onset of sleep for you. This is also another reason why you should avoid caffeine. And I think, yes, caffeine is also, it increases alertness. And I think we are very familiar with this one. Caffeine increases alertness because, it acts as a stimulant. And therefore, taking it at the wrong time will rather let you keep up. You remember some people will say that I take caffeine if I want to stay awake for a long time. Yeah. Because it acts as a stimulant for the nervous system and all that. So these are some of the few reasons why you should avoid it. That's for the 10. And then when it comes to the 3, we are saying that you should avoid eating or probably taking in anything alcohol 3 hours before you sleep. A few reasons also pertains here, and I'll talk about just a few. When you eat heavily, I mean, digestion, requires a lot of energy. And if you eat heavily just 3 hours before your bedtime, you might not have, that energy, or since you might not be in motion, so you might not get the energy to help digestion. And this can result in indigestion, acid reflux, and a lot of discomfort. This can affect your sleep. And then again, alcohol might initially act as though, helping you sleep because you might feel drowsy and all that. But then this will, your sleep quality will be affected because, alcohol affects certain hormones that regulate our sleep cycle. And also it's very important that we watch this. Again, I think, eating 3 hours before bedtime or probably taking in alcohol. Well, this one I'm not so sure, but it increases urination during sleep, and therefore you waking up often to urinate and all that could lead to dehydration. That could also affect your sleep, and then you might not have a proper sleep. These are just a few things I'm saying up head, but we can read again on it. And then the two saying that you have to stop working 2 hours before bedtime. Let's say you work with screens or something. You shouldn't forget the fact that blue light exposure can affect our sleep, because it suppresses the production of I think melatonin and all that. Yes, that's the hormones that regulate our sleep, making it very hard for you to sleep or fall asleep anyway. And then also, again, this also increases alertness, because you tend to stimulate your mind based on the activities you are doing. And then if you end early before you sleep, make it more difficult for your body and mind to transition into a state of relaxation that's needed to fall asleep. So this can delay the state of sleep and reduce quality. And then the 0 is trying to say that hit your the snooze button or the alarm that we usually set to wake us up. All this is trying to tell us that try to regulate your sleep and make sure that you have regular times to sleep, regular time to wake up. Because if you wake up at the same time every day, in fact, it supports your body's internal clock, to have this consistency, and then you avoid sleep disruptions. So this is just a few information that I just wanted to put across, but I encourage that let's read around it. I have actually tried it on a patient and it worked. It worked. So again, I'm sorry, I just read your topic and I sent the question in. I want to believe that it has actually opened us up a bit, and then reading more around it which add more knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I just found out that you asked Kolebu. So yes, most of the participants in case of any challenge can actually pass by as well. I think most of the things you talked about had been talked about earlier. But adding up to it, specifically adding a strategy like the 10, 3, 2, 1, 0 becomes something that we can keep and then take as
Thank you so much.
And as we go on, we'll connect more after the call, and then we can do something else to you as well. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Sabi and Dr. Panti. It's been a lot to learn, a lot more to learn. Thank you very much again. And so we have a couple more of questions in the chat box, which I would like to share. So we have another coming in from Sir Jones. He's asking, is there any link between clumsy and poor ventilated room and sleep difficulty?
Yes, Sir Jones, I just added up right now. yeah, when your room is clumsy, it doesn't make you feel very comfortable. To the extent, just imagine you wake up in the morning, on your bed, you have your books, you have your dresses, you have your pomade, you have your phone, you have the wire you are supposed to charge your phone with, all of them on your bed. You realize that maybe in your room, it's not been cleaned for a while. So your room is not feeling too comfortable for you. Imagine sleeping in a room like that, or sleeping in a room where it's more well ventilated. You have your favorite color of bed sheet on it. If you have maybe a doll that you like to play with or hold or something, you have a pillow that you feel comfortable sleeping on. You have maybe the fan that gives you some air, right? And your bed is well laid. You certainly be able to sleep in the second scenario than the first scenario. So yes, there's a link between a room that is clumsy and of course a room that is not well ventilated and sleep. Now, if your room is well ventilated, you'll be able to breathe properly. You wouldn't have issues concerning waking up with cold or catarrh or having your nose being blocked. And of course, you wouldn't have a lot of things on your bed. Mostly when you go to the universities, because the bed is very small and the room is not spacious, people keep their books on their bed. They keep their clothes on their bed. They just sleep on just a half part of the bed, just a small part of the bed, and it affects their sleep as well. So yes, there's a major link between a room that is clean or clumsy, or a room that is properly ventilated and less ventilated, and sleep. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much, Sir Jones. Thank you very much, Dr. Panti, for the response. And then we have another from Madame Osejuel Archer. Does sleeping positions have any impact on quality of sleep?
Yes, I believe it does. Now, I wouldn't say I've empirically gotten a research to hold on that, but coming from a professional angle, it does. In that, if you sleep sometimes and maybe you sleep on your neck, or you position your neck not too well, or you sleep on maybe an aspect of your hand for a while, your body naturally has been created in such a way that it will send a message to your brain to position yourself well. Now, if you position yourself well in that matter, and maybe it gets you up in a way, you will have to start the process again. Now, the bit of the thing is, you might go faster in the lighter sleep into the deep sleep, because you've already started the journey, right? It was just a little break, so it might be easy for you to ease yourself. But if the position is make you wake up with a lot of pains, right? Where you actually become conscious, it becomes you spending some bit more time in the lighter sleep, in the light sleep, before you go into the deep sleep. And yes, that will certainly affect your sleep. So yeah, it has a connection to sleep. Your sleep position does affect. I think there are even some positions that are not fully healthy. I think there even when you are women who are pregnant, there are some positions they should be sleeping in that can help them to sleep properly. There are some positions that's not advisable for them to also sleep. And of course, there's a connection like that as well. So yes, it does have a connection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti. Thank you once again. Madame Jewel Archer. I hope I got that right. Okay, so please, any more questions? And I'd like to remind us that tonight's edition is in collaboration with the Ghana Psychological Association. That's the Paralay Division and Paralay and Associate Division. And we are supported by Great Commission Movement of Ghana, Alpha Wave Consult, and House. Tonight, we've been talking about the role of sleep scheduling in mental wellness with Mr. Samuel G. Panti. We are so grateful to have him join us and to take us through this session entirely. And to all our contributors and participants, we really appreciate your Oh, okay. We really appreciate your joining us. And so, Mr. Jewel Archer is actually a man. So I'm so sorry for addressing you as a madam. Thank you for the correction. Please, any further questions, please?
Hello.
Hello, Sir Jones.
Yes. Sorry, mine isn't a question though, but an appeal to Mr. Panti. This webinar, I think, is very impactful, and I'm suggesting maybe if we can re-look at it, whereby we submit this topic to council for accreditation, so that we can have a paid CPD as part of the GPA's next set of submissions that we'll be doing. Because I think a lot of people will need this information, and then more importantly, to more professionals or therapists who also want to learn from this insightful presentation. So I think we can move it forward and make it bigger. All right.
Well, Sir Jones, yes, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, we can easily do that. I think I'm open for that, so we can do that. And just like Madam Sabina added more and more insights, yes, certainly the therapist will need it in our line of work. So yeah, I appreciate it. I'm open for that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, money pay. Even the rice and cocoa is not for you.
And so thank you very much, Sir Jones, for this great suggestion. More like, and yes, I also do agree. It will really do us a great service and add up to the knowledge.
There's someone with the final question, then we can call it Bex. I think Bex wants a question.
Yeah. Okay, so Madam Bex, please, you may unmute and ask your question or make a contribution. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you so much, Dr. Panti, for your presentation. And please, I want to ask if taking breaks in sleep affects our mental health. For instance, when you sleep, your bedtime is around 10 p.m. and then you wake up at 3, do some studies or normal stuff, and go back to sleep for it to be 6 hours. I want to ask if it's safe, if it will affect our mental health, or it's okay to do that.
Okay, all right. Now, the bit of it is, as you go through your sleep, as I took you through the schedule or the cycle of sleep, you need some hours to be spent in all the cycle of sleep, whether REM sleep, whether non-REM sleep, whether the lightest, the light, the deep sleep, or the REM sleep. Now, if you tend to wake up, maybe you sleep around 9 or 10, and you tend to wake up around 3 o'clock to learn. Now, it means that there's a high possibility that you did not spend enough time in at least one of the stages of the sleep, whether deep sleep or REM sleep, and there could be high possibility of it being REM sleep. Now, if it happens that way, and after your learning, you go back to sleep for maybe additional hours, you're starting the whole process of sleep again, right? And of course, it will still be like adenosine level will be at play, and then melatonin will be at play. So if you get everything available or impactful, or you can still have your sleep and you wouldn't have any challenges with mental health. The major thing about sleep in connection to mental health is the REM sleep. That's the major aspect of it. Of course, we have the energy bit that has to do with the light sleep and the lighter sleep, and the deep sleep that has to do with the physical aspect of us. But the more connectivity to our mental health is the REM sleep. And advisably, you have to spend some time in the REM sleep. So if you keep missing the REM sleep, it's a challenge. And even with the learning, which I think most students do not know. Now, if you keep on learning and learning and learning without having REM sleep, it's a challenge, because the connectivity to memory is REM sleep. And then, of course, deep sleep as well. But REM sleep major, because that is where your senses or the stuff that you saw, the stuff that you heard, right? It gets registered into your long-term memory, and it is your REM sleep. So if you miss that aspect and you just learn for short hours, of course, maybe you're just not keeping it deep into your long-term memory for usage for a longer period of time, by just 1 hour or two, and you tend to forget. That's fair. But if you actually want to fully learn and keep it yourself, you have to get REM sleep. So yes, I'm just hoping that I've answered your question. Thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bex, for the question. Thank you, Dr. Panti, for responding to the question. So, Sir Joel, please, would you like to ask a question or make a contribution?
Oh, no, I don't have any question. But it's what I would say is to thank our facilitator so much. The GPA Parallel and Associate Division is so much grateful for having you, and we look forward to more of such engagement. Thanks so much. And thanks to the Purple Wellbeing Show too for agreeing for us to do this partnership. I think it's helping us a lot. Thank you, Amma.
Thank you very much, Sir Jones. And just like Dr. Panti said, you've been so helpful to, I believe, a lot of people. We as well appreciate your support, the guidance, and every means of support you've been given to the Purple Wellbeing Show. We are very, very grateful, and we say thank you and God bless you. Okay, Dr. Panti, I think there's a last question from Senior Helena. Okay. Do I go ahead to read? Because I just read your response to that. Doc.
Yeah. So, Madam Helena, I'm just trying to figure senior. I don't know how the title is, but please allow me to call you Helena. Yeah. So, Helena, yes, the REM sleep is talking about a rapid eye movement sleep. It's a stage of sleep where you would be asleep, all right, you'll be unconscious, all right, but your eyeball that is behind your eyelid will be moving like this consistently, because it's processing everything that you've exposed yourself to during the day out from your 5 senses. So it will continuously be processed. At that point, your brain is really active. Everything that you've exposed, your brain will be processing it at that stage. Now you stay in it for a while, you get out of it into the non-REM sleep. And then with time, you go back to the REM sleep for the processing again. So you have to spend some time there in order to process the things that you've exposed yourself to from your 5 senses. That's what REM sleep is. I'm hoping that I've been able to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti and Senior Helena, for the question. And shall we take Doc's last words? So we conclude for tonight's edition.
So my last word will still be my last information, which I gave earlier. And that's this, right? Now, your life is literally in your hands. Now, if you mostly, is so, okay. Your life is basically in your hands. Now, if you know that you have 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night, and night is for sleep, for energized body, for all these processes that we go through in order to get the power to go back through our life in the next day, then we should actually keep and take sleep as a very important thing to do. Now, literally, I'll say sleep, it's even more important than most of the things that we do, because sleep has been taken that you have to get 12 hours, a lot of hours for it before you get to wake up and go around your day during the day. So advice I'll be, please try plan for your sleep. Try to work around your sleep. Try to learn more about sleep. Try to understand yourself concerning sleep. do not rush into using medication, right? Try to invest in your sleep. If you have to buy some stuff, maybe some bed sheets or some pillow for your sleep, please invest in your pillow, or invest in your mattress, or invest in your bed. Invest it, because that's actually your pillar for good health, a pillar that connects to everything as every aspect of you. So try to sleep better in order for you to live better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panti. I think there is a last question here. Would you like to take that?
Final one.
Okay. Okay then. And so Madam Helena is correcting us. She is a Reverend sister, so it's Sister Helena. And so it's been a very insightful moment with Dr. Panti. And once again, I'd like to draw attention to the fact that a WhatsApp channel link has been shared in the chat box, and we'll appreciate you following for our previous posts or sessions, and also upcoming sessions. Finally, I say thank you very much on behalf of the Purple Wellbeing Show team and the Ghana Psychological Association team for making time to join us. Okay. For making time to join us tonight, as you always do. We really appreciate your dedication, your support, and time to join us always and always. Dr. Panti, we are very grateful for this insightful lecture you've given us and shared with us. I believe I'm going to learn a lot. I'm taking more cues from tonight's session, and yes, just like many others, we hope to actually learn to sleep in a better way. And so once again, if you'd like to reach out to Dr. Panti, he shared his contact. So you can reach him on LinkedIn as Samuel Panti, and also via email pantisami1@gmail.com. Doc, I hope I got that right. Yes. So pantisami1@gmail.com. That's PANTISAMMIE1@gmail.com. We are very grateful for your time, Doc, and to every participant. We are very, very grateful. Thank you once again to the Ghana Psychological Association, Paralay and Associate Division for this amazing collaboration. You've been so, so amazing. And to agreeing to join us do this all the time. We are grateful, Sir Jones, and to the entire executive team. Thank you. Thank you. We are very, very grateful, sir. Sir Jones, Dr. Panti, and to every one of you, your contributions, your questions have been so, so enlightening. We are grateful. Next week, we shall come back with another exciting and intriguing edition. We are looking forward to having people living with mental disorders share their experiences with us. And we look forward to having you join us next week, same time at 7 p.m. I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize for the late start for tonight's show. There was a bit of technical and network issues from my end here. Then again, we appreciate your patience with us. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Madam Matilda. You held the fort at the time we were struggling with the network. We really appreciate you for that moment. And you've always been joining us and many others as well. We really appreciate you. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. I am Amma Labi. See you next week.
Thank you too.
Thank you,
God
Mom.
bless you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
And that was a great one from Amma. You've done so well. Thank you to God bless you for the wonderful work you are doing. Bye.
Thank you, Sir Jones.
You've been a great one. God bless you plenty.
Good night.
Good night.